Guru Nation, welcome to another episode of Random Musings from the Clinical Trials Guru. Thank you guys for your questions. Thank you. Keep them coming in. You can text me anytime, 949-415-6256. I got a question from somebody, and I'm going to give you, it's kind of long, but I've been working with this person over text for a while, and it looks like they're about to get their third interview, which is a very good sign. And it's going to be a 3-hour Zoom interview. So, first of all, they're asking, is this normal? The answer is yes. Zoom is, and even before this pandemic, I mean, there was a lot of virtual interviews and or in-person interviews, but a lot of them increasingly were virtual, and it's not uncommon for them to be 3 hours long because there's oftentimes numerous people talking to you from the site. This one is at a large academic center for oncology. So they're going to have like a lot of the people from the oncology team, the department. Most likely they'll have their project manager. They might have their PI. They'll probably have the coordinator. They'll probably have the regulatory person. They might even have a clinician or a sub-I. So, there's a lot of people. This could be intimidating, but the good news is this is your third interview. So that means they want you. You're worthy of at least 3 hours of their time, 3 more hours of their time. They've already spent, I don't know how many hours with you already in the first and second interview. So people don't want to waste their time. That's the only non-renewable resource that we have is time. Okay, people would rather spend money than waste time. So, is it typical for 3 hours? Yes. And I said yes. They're gonna know. They're gonna want to see if you know enough about oncology. I don't know what this person put on their background. Then they're asking me, hey, I was wondering if it's appropriate to say I have a working knowledge, meaning I've gained theoretical knowledge, but haven't actually applied this in any applicable setting. Would it be okay to keep this on my resume as an entry-level candidate, or do you suggest a different wording? So it doesn't even matter if they know your entry level, and I see it here, and you also went to school close by to me. So it doesn't matter if they know your entry level already, so you're not fooling anybody by putting working knowledge or theoretical knowledge. What does working knowledge mean? Does it mean knowledge you gained when you worked? Does it mean that your knowledge is working, meaning it's not broken? Um, I mean, it could mean anything. Everyone has different definitions. I don't think it matters that much. I don't think it's that important. Since your interview is tomorrow and you're wondering about revising your CV for tomorrow, I would say no. I would, if this is your first interview, because I'm not clear from your text if this is your first interview or your second interview. Yeah, you were able to get through your phone interview successfully, and now you've been scheduled for a 3-hour Zoom. So they know that you're. I mean, what did the phone interview? The phone interview entailed them gathering whether you're research naive or not. So it makes no difference to send your revised resume. Um, you can always bring it up in the interview that, hey, if they ask, you don't want to lie. You want to say, well, what I mean by working knowledge was I gained the theoretical knowledge. I haven't actually applied it, but by working knowledge, it means I understand enough to do the job and to work in the company. Since it's already on your resume, what's the point of changing it by tomorrow? But always tell the truth in the interview. Don't lie. You've added a few details from previous experiences, which will make their resume look stronger. I think, again, I don't think they're concerned about your resume at this point. Um, I think the interview is going to be what determines whether you get the job or not the resume. Okay, the resume is just something that they can have like a reference point. Okay, who this person is. It's like a reminder. I don't want to convey that I have experience because I do not. I only gain knowledge from the program I undertook. So talk about that. Talk about the program you undertook. If you did the CRA Academy, this is the good part about the CRA Academy or the CRC Academy. We actually have real working knowledge for you guys. We have internships for both of those programs on real studies in the real industry setting. So you don't need to even worry about that. But in your program, I don't know which one you took, just tell them the truth. I mean, it's always looks good that you went out of your way to take a program, whether it's mine or someone else's. If you took a program, it looks good. It shows that you have some kind of drive, ambition, and you don't rely on people telling you what to do or that you have to do something. If, and you are going to hear this before your interview, if I were you, I would get my GCP certificate tonight. Okay. You can get GCP training for free. I would get my IATA certificate as well. You can do that tonight too. You can get that for free. Uh, and tell them, in addition to my training, I did these two last night, GCP and IATA, because I know that's required for the industry. So I actually did them and I have my certificates that could come up in the interview too. I apologize for all the questions. My last question is, should I even include my GPA? Because this person's worried their GPA wasn't that great in college. Let me tell you something. Nobody cares. This is not medical school. You're applying for a clinical research coordinator position. They don't care about your GPA. They care about your working knowledge. They care about what you know. They care about what you're willing to do, your potential. So that's my answers for you. I got a very similar. So a lot of people getting interviewed, and this is, again, I'm very bullish. I've been getting this, like, a bunch of these interviews or interview questions. I actually did a 1-minute video today too. There's another one that they were asking, what should they ask their employer at the end of the interview? So you always want to ask questions about them, about the employer. So, like, what studies specifically will I be working on? And if we know, like, which studies, and then what are the current problems, like, as of today or as of when I'm starting? What are the current issues? Like, what are the biggest challenges, and where do you see me fitting in immediately, like from day one, just so I could be more prepared? Those are good questions to ask. You don't want to ask questions about the pay. You don't, I mean, there's a time and place for that, but it's not during the interview. They're probably gonna bring it up anyways to see if you're okay with the pay if they haven't brought it up already. You don't want to ask about sick days or uh, anything that's like on the selfish side. You want to make it about them more and show them that you are somebody that could solve problems for them. So that was another question I got. And then I got another one in regards to what certifications should they do. Uh, and so, like I just said, GCP and IATA certificates. Those are what you should do. Um, then somebody, this is cancer. So somebody was talking about RECIST criteria, and that's the tumor. That's the way that's specific to oncology. RECIST. It's RECIST. It's only for oncology. So if you could be working in clinical research and have never heard about it unless you're doing oncology studies. But it's a way to measure the response of tumors, the response that the tumors have to the treatment. And there's another one for oncology. There's another acronym that's going to confuse people. It's called CTCAE. And for that one, there's a very helpful app called Onco Assist, and it's free. This is the app. And basically, CTCAE is all about grading the adverse events. And for some reason, only oncology does this. We don't see grading of AEs in other indications. I've had an interview with Dr. Al Jazairli trying to explain why this is the case. I don't know why, but this app is very helpful for oncology, whether you're a coordinator or a CRA. You're always looking because the protocols usually say, okay, if there's a grade 3 AE or a grade 2 AE, this is what you need to do to the investigation of product. So you may be asking yourself, well, what is a grade 3 or a grade 2 if the AE was hypertension, or if the AE was shortness of breath, or if the AE was diarrhea? Well, you can just go. You don't need to guess. It's already, the criteria is here. So that's another acronym, is the CTCAE, We're on version 6, I believe. There is one more acronym for oncology that you need to know, and it is TNM, and that TNM. So Tom, Nancy, Mary. That's the staging criteria. And this is for the PIs to determine. If you're a coordinator, you just need to be familiar with this. And if you're a CRA, the same. But usually the PI is, well, not usually, the PI or the sub-I is the one who stages the tumors. And then M is for metastases. M0 is no distant metastases. M1 is metastases to distant organs. So I'm no expert on this. I've only monitored 4 oncology studies, and I've never really had to. I've had to look up OncoAssist all the time for the CTCAE. I had to be familiar with RESIST. I have to be familiar with staging because sometimes the data is entered incorrectly. If there's a if the source shows there's a metastases, but they put M0, I as a CRA, you're going to at least query it and say, well, source shows otherwise. Please correct. So sites make mistakes all the time too. That's why it's important to know those things. So those are the questions I got in regards to this oncology interview. So good luck if you're a study coordinator. Also, you've got to demonstrate that you know how to engage and communicate and interact with patients and keep them motivated and keep them compliant. And then same thing with the CRA. How are you going to interact with the CRA? How are you going to interact with your colleagues, et cetera, et cetera. So hopefully this helps. Let me know how it goes, and I'll catch you later.